So a lot of us have been looking forward to ODIN Valhalla Rising. This is a game that looked a lot like Black Desert Online. It is cross-platform compatible between PC and mobile devices, kind of like Genshin Impact, kind of like Tower of Fantasy. But from the trailers that we received, from the footage that we saw, the game genuinely looked pretty good. I've actually done a few different videos on the game thus far. The most recent video I did was actually concerning the removal of autoplay in their game, because I did a video, it was 1 year ago. ODIN Valhalla Rising previews auto combat. Now in that video, I noticed that the combat automatically locked onto targets and you moved directly to them. There was no real direct input from you as a player. And I noted that that was not something that I thought belonged in an MMO. I dislike autopathing. I really dislike autoplay. Now, autoplay in mobile games is perfectly acceptable, but I do feel it does not belong in the larger MMO genre. And this video that I did 9 months ago was concerning an announcement that they made about the removal of autoplay in their Western, more global version of the game. But then since that point, there has been no real information released concerning the version that we're all looking forward to and actively awaiting. Before we go any further, I just want to take a moment here to thank all of the absolute chads and chadettes that support this channel via Patreon. You're all freaking legends. Seriously, each and every single one of you. I would offer to give each of you a kiss, but I suffer from severe intimacy issues. Additionally, if you want to stay up to date with all the latest MMO gacha and gaming news, take a second here to follow MRSSTIX and I over on Twitter. We tweet daily. That is until July, when they went ahead and they made a blog post stating that Kakao Games has taken control of ODIN Valhalla Rising, and they used a very nice character model render for it's really popping. So Kakao Games has become the majority shareholder of Lionheart, the creators of ODIN Valhalla Rising. When the MMORPG ODIN Valhalla Rising was revealed, many gamers were impressed by the details and the potential of the game, and of course that ended up putting its developer, Lionheart Studio, in the spotlight. Later, the company closes a deal with Kakao Games to publish the title in South Korea, and it seems that now the plans for a global version have just gained momentum. So, for those of you that were looking at this and thinking to yourself, there's no way we're gonna get ODIN Valhalla Rising outside of Korea, the global version has just gained momentum. After all, the publisher decided to bet on the study and become its main shareholder. Now, they go on to state, they're going to quote, through an official statement, Kakao Games confirmed that it became the owner of 54.95% of the shares of Lionheart Studio and consequently took control of the company. With that, we can say that now the publisher also owns ODIN Valhalla Rising and will be able to make all of the decisions regarding the release and the development of the game. And if there's one thing we have learned from Kakao as a studio, it is that they make some of the highest quality, the most friendly, non-pay-to-win video games online. And yes, I am being facetious. In a way, this could be great news since we're talking about a company that has a global presence. You know what? Nexon also has a global presence. Gamigo also has a global presence. Would we want either of those studios, either of those publishers to actually publish a video game outside of their respective country? Because I would not. I genuinely would not. I would rather not play it than have those companies take a hold of it, ruin it, and then shut it down after they've milked everything they can from the Western community, which could make it easier to launch the MMORPG outside of South Korea. It's also worth mentioning that it was Kakao Games' decision to impose an IP block for certain regions when the MMORPG Elion was released. Therefore, it can be said that there is a chance that ODIN Valhalla Rising will have a global version, but with access available for a select group of regions. In any case, it's still early to know what Kakao Games intends to do with ODIN Valhalla Rising, so we can only keep an eye on the news. We hope that the ODIN Valhalla Rising is IP block free and available to everyone without restrictions, and if Kakao have proven time and time again that they restrict access to their games based on your region, this is going to be absolutely no exception. This game is going to be IP blocked, just like Elion was. If you're curious of whether or not you'll be able to play this when it inevitably launches globally, then just take a look which regions are restricted from playing Elion and you'll have your answer. Now, for those of you that are awaiting ODIN Valhalla Rising's release and you're looking for something to play, I have a list on screen right now of the remainder of the MMOs slated to release sometime between now and the end of this year, or also on screen, a video on the most populated, most played, most important, I guess, gacha games available right now because everyone is playing them.